Alright guys, another garage. This one's a little bit different. Building a 24 by 24, 9-foot walls, 18 foot wide by 9 foot tall door. And it is getting attached to a 26 wide by 32 deep, I think 10 foot, 10 and a half foot walls maybe. I've got my plates laid out, drilled all the way around. A little windy out here, but hopefully you're getting some good audio. Got my siding stripped, going into OSB here, plus a corner, so that's good. And down here, because it's all just fiberboard Celotex, I got it stripped where my wall's going in here, but I do have a stud, so I'll get some big long screws and attach in there. This wall is actually leaning in towards the new garage by about an inch, so my top plate is, when everything's lined up, an inch short. So I got no desire to transfer this lean out to my new walls. So I want to give you a quick intro on what's going on here. Pretty standard other than being attached. And we are lower. So our wall's only going to go up to about there, and then the rafter will go up. So I do have to valley back. All right, I'm going to throw some studs out, fire up the compressor, get some walls built, hopefully stand them. It's crazy windy out here, but we'll see what we can get done. All right, it's been a couple hours, but my walls are in. I got my top plates on. They're not laid out yet, but I can get to that. Let's see. I get this gable wall all racked up and braced. I did the same to this back wall, even though it is attached there, but just gives it a little extra strength. Ran into an issue here with bolts. Mason left them too low, so I had to kind of chisel out to get those anchored, but that's done. One other bolt issue over here. I got a bolt that is actually drilled up into the jacks, so I'm gonna have to sink another one. I mean, it is there. That wall can't move, but an inspector needs to see it. Got some bracing ready to get these big old 19-foot headers in. I'm gonna try to set the camera up somewhere over here so you can actually get video of these headers going in, because that might go horribly wrong and you're gonna want to see that.
Hey, before we go any further, let me know how much you think those LVLs weighed. They weren't light. Put your guess down below. Whoever comes the closest will win something. It'll be a completely intangible prize, but you'll feel real good about it when you find out what it is. So put your guess down below, and while you're at it, hit the thumbs up button.
There we go. We're in. We're installed. I'm going to run some more screws in the middle to draw it all up tight. Then it can be nailed up permanently, and back nailed through those king studs, toe nailed up through the jacks, get my temporary bracing out of the way, get my other top plates on, and we'll do some bracing from there. The header is in. What I ended up having to do was put another, I'll show you back here. you can see the third top plate. I wanted to try to avoid it, but I could not get that header straight. So inspectors would be happier to see that extra top plate on the front, because I had to run 2x4s to make sure everything was nice and straight, because just the seams, it was wonky. But that's good. We just went up another 1.5 inches. So once I got that done, I got these 2 angle braces in. So they go from that top plate down to the bottom plate here, which solidifies the front wall. Then I ran my ceiling joists and got them tacked on the back wall, eyed that up nice and straight, came over and nailed them in the front. So now the front wall is straight because it's tied down to that plate, and the back wall is straight because it's tied down to the front wall. Oh, let's see what else we need done here. I'm getting my OSB set to sheathe the back because they're 9-foot walls. I'm going to run it horizontally. That way I can make sure some of these crooked studs are nice and straight. So I'm going to run the OSB at least on the eave walls, this one and this one, because that's where the rafters will hook. I will probably do the gable wall also, and then get a block on the outside and run it down to a stake so that's nice and straight. Then get these rafters cut, get my ridge figured out, and don't know if it's going to happen today that those are going to go up, because it's kind of windy, it's kind of cold, and it's getting kind of late in the day. So I thought I saw a bear or Sasquatch or something out there. Anyway, get this OSB on, go after these rafters, check back in with you. Okay, I've got a brief respite from the audience here, and I wanted to show you what I've got done here. Got my ridge set. The 16-footer that I set originally, so that spans 1, 2, 3, 4 joist spaces, because they're 4 feet apart. And then I put a 5-footer at the end. You can see how I notched the 2x10 to handle a 2x6 fascia. Ridge prop in that I kind of gusseted to the side there, and that allowed me to get an angle brace in that plumbs everything in right there. Let me climb up here real quick and I'll show you. Where's it at? There's an angle brace holding this wall, so everything is nice and solid. So when I set the ridge, I put it on props that are about the right height to hold the ridge, so I don't have to mess with it too much up or down. Especially, you can't really go down. Once your ridge is there, you're screwed. You'd have to disassemble everything to bring it down. And I set everything with screws just in case, you know, something's gone wonky on me, but this one was pretty good. Everything fell in line right where it needed to be. So once the ridge is set with screws, then I start nailing everything up. If you can see where the nails are sticking through right there, because I got long nails going on there. So the ridge is originally set with screws, and then the couple that are there have been nailed, and then I'll go through as I set the new ones. I'll nail everything up, and then I have to extend onto the garage a little bit with some valley rafters and stuff, and I'm gonna not probably do that today. I think my intention after I set these rafters is going to be to run the fascia on the outside that close in the gable and run the fly fascias. Then that's done. I may even work on throwing some OSB onto the roof, and I'm going to let that go until like the very last thing, which very well could be tomorrow. All right, well, my batteries died on my GoPro. I don't know if they got sucked down by the cold or what, but I got my gable all closed in. I actually got my fly rafters on, because you can see I ran my first, I'll get this stupid ladder out of the way. I had my first fascias on the front and back so I could put the flies on. Having this angle brace out in the yard kind of slowed me down a little bit because I had to set up twice going around with the pick and stuff, but it worked out and I was able to stay out of the mud pretty much, so I'm not trekking mud all over my ladders. You can see I put a block on the fascias when I put them up that indexes me where I need to be. I make sure that that block butts the outside rafter, and then that puts me where I need to be, and then it gives me something I can attach my fly rafter to. I do the same thing up on the ridge. I put an extra 2x4 on so that the fly rafter has a way it can attach through the side instead of just being toe-nailed. And then I get 2 blocks in there for spacing. Okay, tomorrow I'll be putting OSB on this thing, and then I would assume I might even get into the valley rafters on the garage, the existing garage, and I might be able to get that buttoned up also. I'll have to see. It's been cold and I've not been getting early starts, and the sun's gonna officially be down in a couple minutes and I still gotta pack up. So I'm gonna load up and get out of here, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Okay, back out here on the job, and woke up to this today. This sucks. Not ready for this. I need to get up on that roof and clear some snow off somehow. That's the north side of the roof too, so I don't think that's gonna get any better anytime soon. This is really slowing things down. Man, I'm ready to shut it down for the year. I'm telling you. Yeah. All right, I've been pretty much killing time. I got all the snow swept off of here. I don't know if I can show you. You can see up on the roof of the garage. I got some of that cleared out of the way. King posts and collar ties in on the parts that are existing. And this backside is relatively dry. I did get, you can see my nails up there. I had to get my line popped and some index nails. I'm gonna try to run the first row of OSB from the inside so I can stay out of the mud in the back. I don't know if that'll work because it's gonna be hard to get an 8-foot sheet up through there, but we're gonna go find out. I was able to actually run those up there without much problem. So my first row's on here. The front side is now pretty well dry, so that's going to be my next focus because I can do all that from the approach here without getting muddy. And then I think as I run everything this way, I can slide the sheets for the back from the top and continue to be able to avoid that mud. So for the front, I think I'll try to just set you up in the toolbox of the truck and give you a shot and throw some OSB at the front of this. Let you see how it's done. Hard part's done. Gonna fill the rest of the OSB on the front and then slide the stuff to the back and give you guys an update. All right, we're on to day something. I don't know, it seems like I've been out here forever. But we're gonna get this thing wrapped up today, I hope. Really everything is done except tying in here. Let me climb up here and show you. A little wet up here, but not snowy. Of course, the gutter's full of ice. I gotta take that down. That's gonna crash and bend, I'm sure. First thing is get this gutter out of here, and then I'm gonna extend my ridge, which I think you can see behind me. Run the rest of the commons, which I'll have to cut the siding. Tie in here with valley rafters. I think that's it. No, I got my rear fascia on. I'll have to get the front fascia on. I got the door trimmed. Everything else should be ready to go. I think I have to drill a couple bolts in, maybe. Hopefully, it needs to be done today because we got roofers and siders coming tomorrow early, so I got to get this thing done. So I'm going to call it quits for now with the camera and just get after it, and then hopefully give you an update in a bit. Hey, now we're getting somewhere. Let me show you what's next on the agenda. This back side of the garage, what I need to do is I'm gonna build this out with a couple tails, you know, like 3 inches or so. That way the roofers will flash down and around, and then that will be drip edge up with shingles on it. You can see how I cut everything. I left the fascia on, and I held the rafter 1.5 inches away, and I blocked it down there, partially because I didn't want to mess with removing the siding in the front, because I actually put the rafter tail over the siding so the roofers could flash that. I'll try to point that out to you. Let me see if I can climb up here without killing myself. So I got my last 2 common rafters in, then I planed my ridge through, figured out where that was going to terminate, popped a couple lines with a chalk line, ran the junk circular saw with a bad blade in it, cut the shingles out of the way, stripped the shingles, extended my ridge, got my valley boards in, and then ran the couple rafters that needed to go, valley rafters in there. All right, there she is. Kind of see what I did back there, how I went around valley and everything. Man, this thing was a chore. .24 by 24 9-foot pre-cut studs. Hey, my pencil. 18 wide by 8-foot tall door, so a little bit bigger door than normal. That's why it's got the big header. I gotta get my braces pulled still. Everything's tied in. I'll show you how I did that siding for the flashing. You can see right there how I cut it, but I left the siding so the flashing will come out. It'll be exposed right there, and that'll send all the water onto the siding as opposed to behind it, which no one ever sides that properly over kick-out flashing, and it always ruins the wall. I try to avoid that. And try to bring you around back. There's the gutter I pulled, leaving it in case the gutter guys want to reuse it, because they only need a couple sections. But you can see those are 2x6s as opposed to 2x8s, but that's going to be boxed, so you won't see that discrepancy.
That's it. I don't have any more footage. If you want to see how that job turned out completely, you better hope I get called back to it, because I don't have any other footage. So before we get out of here, why don't you click on one of the links that's over here, or right over my face maybe. Check out that video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Yeah, they totally bought that I was working on something.